Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another fantastic episode of Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable discussion. Before we get started, let me first remind you that we are covered by the BIPCOT No Government License, which allows for the use and reuse of this podcast by anyone and everyone except for governments and the bludgies thereof. You can learn more about that at bipcot.org. That is BIPCOT.org. We're also protected by Brandenburg v. Ohio, 1969, which ruled that the government cannot punish inflammatory speech unless that speech is, quote, directed to inciting or producing imminent lawless action and is likely to incite or produce such action. Therefore, everything said here on Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable discussion is entirely hypothetical. This is episode 157. I don't know why we're still going, but we're still going.
Are there actually people who pay attention to this? What?
Oh, we have someone watching. We have someone watching somewhere.
Oh, well, hey, a whole one.
It's probably John. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
So
would be exciting, but it's just John.
It's probably just John. So anyway, yeah. Yeah, we're exciting today. So much energy. I have no energy today. Between the guy running people over at the parade and up there in Wisconsin, and which is an asshole move. I'm just gonna say, these aren't protesters blocking your fucking car. These are people having a parade. You drove through a fucking barrier to run people over in your fucking car.
Yeah, well, and there were shots fired immediately before that. They think that the shots fired are directly connected to that SUV. It doesn't seem clear how right now, based on everything that I've seen, but they are connected somehow. The guy wound up running over. There's over 30 people in the hospital right now. A bunch of the people that he ran over were fucking kids, little girls, and as part of this dance team. He ran them down. There's a video of him missing this little girl that can't be more than maybe 4 or 5 years old by inches missing this little girl, sailing past, and his front end's already all dented up from hitting other people. And I really hope that the fathers of those little girls catch up to him before law enforcement does.
Monkey, what's up, homie?
Oh, that's our one viewer.
Well, we have two now.
Oh, hey,
we have two now. So one of them is John. The other one's Monkey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but I had an interesting encounter today. I got vax passport checked when I tried to go into a restaurant to have lunch with my brother for his birthday.
Wow.
Not okay. I live in the ghetto, right? I've talked about this before. I live in the ghetto, San Francisco Bay Area. I'm in Contra Costa County, East Bay. It's literally it's not even actually a Mexican restaurant. It labels itself as Mexican American food, but it's like a shit tier. It's like a tier below Taco Bell.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. Oh. It's like their burgers are better than their burritos.
Oh man, that is says a lot.
The burgers are better than their burritos. But little restaurant called Little Manuel's. It's shit tier, but it's local and it's cheap. And we order from them 2-3 times a month sometimes. So my county issued a vaccine passport, and some places are enforcing it, some places aren't. But today's my brother's birthday. He turned 39. And we went there with my dad to go, have lunch. And we walk in, we got our masks on, right? We're obeying the rules. We got our fucking masks on, right? There's there's probably 36, 40 seats in the restaurant side of this building. And then there's probably 20 seats on the bar side of this building. And there's at least 24 people in the bar watching football. In the restaurant side, which has 35, 40 seats, there's 6 people at 2 tables. Right? But I couldn't go in at this shit tier restaurant, local as fuck. like, like,
What the?
like we call so often, like the person that answers the phone, like my brother will call, and they'll ask, "What do you want?" My brother says, "Delivery," and the person will recognize my brother's name about half the time. Right? Or they'll recognize his voice and be like, "Oh, hey, Josh, blah blah blah." Right? We couldn't go in because we aren't vaccinated. We don't have the passports. Like shit tier local. Like we have over 1 million people in this county, and we have like just over 1,000 deaths that are attributed to COVID. That doesn't mean COVID killed them, but that are attributed to COVID.
Yeah, for
so like
fuck's sake.
1% of 1% of the population.
Yeah, who fucking cares? Like what?
You know,
I can guarantee you in that same span of time, there's probably been more traffic deaths than there have been deaths from COVID.
Yeah, definitely. You know, like there's been more drug overdoses than there have been from COVID.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no. But
I don't get. I mean, it's this. The thing is that what COVID is providing a lot of these Karens is it's giving them the ability to pretend that compliance is virtue.
Yep, these are the same people that would have snitched out Anne and what's her face?
Anne Frank.
Anne Frank. Yes, these are the people that would have snitched out Anne Frank. You know, guy comes knocking on the door. We know you have unvaccinated people hiding under your floorboards.
Yeah. You have the unvaccinated underneath your floorboards, do you not?
Yeah, which is fucking hilarious because we're gonna get kicked off Spotify for talking about this. You know, like 2 minutes into the stream.
Probably. Hey, it says we're 7 minutes into the stream, so we should be. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
We check I think they checked the first 30 or something.
Yeah.
Either way,
fuck them.
We're not passing bad information or nothing.
Yeah, this is an anecdote and my opinion.
It's all Minecraft. It's Minecraft COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's I actually just saw a picture of there's a server on Minecraft where it's intentionally designed to be like the most miserable server ever. Like it's structured to make everything as difficult and miserable and sad as possible.
It's Cleveland.
Yeah, well, what's funny is that if you zoom way out on it and you look at it, the structure of it that's intentionally designed to make things as miserable as possible is an almost exact replica of like this Buddhist symbol that's supposed to be how the universe actually looks.
Interesting.
And I'm like, oh, so they just made real life then. Okay, well. Just designed to be as hard and make you as depressed as possible.
So update on that article. I just got an updated article. It says 20 people were injured, or more than 20 people.
Yep. Yeah, I think 32 was what I'd heard. I don't know if that is true or not. But I'd heard 30 people.
Quote, there were pom-poms and shoes and spilled hot chocolate everywhere. I had to go from one crumpled body to the other to find my daughter. My wife and 2 daughters were almost hit. Please pray for everybody. Please pray. My family is safe, but many are not. I had one little girl's head in my hand. She was seizing, and she was bleeding out of her ears. I held her mother as she collapsed. I fucking hate people. I hate people. I hate people. I hate people so fucking much.
Somebody should find that guy, and we can go out into the woods and have a little bit of fun. I mean,
it's a fucking Christmas parade.
Yeah, it's Waukesha's annual Christmas parade. And didn't happen last year, so this year there's a ton of people at it. And they had, and he drove through a little girl's dance team doing a performance down the street as part of the parade. He just gunned it through that. And if you watch the video, he weaves and seems to be trying to hit everybody, as many people as possible. So apparently we need common sense SUV control. Jesus. I mean, like that side of the state is so screwed up. Like, I mean, because Waukesha is right next to Milwaukee, right? There's like Milwaukee and Waukesha and Kenosha and Oshkosh are all right over there on that side, on the Lake Michigan side of the state. And I'm on the opposing side. I'm on the Mississippi side of the state. But that side of the state just constantly with this shit. Constantly. It's just, what the hell? Is it because of the proximity to Chicago? Is that what it is? Because it's so close to Chicago? Because I mean, if you drive from what's south of Chicago, Aurora, if you drive from Aurora all the way up through Chicago and you just keep heading north right along the edge of Michigan, it's like nonstop city that entire way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like you're just hitting one city after another. You're going through Aurora, through Chicago, through that area. You're coming into Milwaukee proper and all of the suburbs. There's, New Berlin and Jackson, and it's just nonstop towns and cities.
Population of 70,718.
Yep, it's about the same size as La Crosse. Where
72,412. 72,412 as of latest.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, and it's a suburb, basically a suburb.
This right here. This absolute right. How miserable of a bastard do you need to be in order to squanch down on a Christmas parade?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what the fuck is your life, man? That you find this to be even remotely acceptable, that you're just going to gun it down. I mean, and mowing down, again, it's not like these people aren't protesters. They're little kids in costumes dancing, and
yeah, they're not protesters.
Candy and...
Yeah, they're not protesters, and they're not looters. They're not rioters, right? I mean, they're not fucking, National Guard enforcing a quarantine or something.
Yeah,
these were little kids at a Christmas parade, bro. Or girl, whoever was driving.
Yeah. Well, again, with the shots fired right beforehand, somebody showed up to this. I mean, it's a Christmas parade, right? It's for Christmas, and somebody was such an awful human being and so miserable that they decided that they needed to attack a celebration of Christmas full of children. I mean, I'm not exactly a great person, but even I'm like, holy fuck, what is wrong with you?
Like, I'm morally flexible, but like, I'm not a moral contortionist. I can't morally justify this at all.
Yeah, I am at a complete loss with it. It just, like, I watched the Packer game, sadly. My
Niners won.
Yeah, well, Liz, it's funny too because Liz just got Lindsay her Christmas present. It's a Randy Moss jersey. It's the 40 year anniversary or whatever from back in 2000. And it's a Viking jersey, obviously. Well, she just got that for her, and she gave it to her early for this game because it's Packers Vikings, and both me and Liz are sitting there in Packers jerseys, and Lindsay's sitting in her Vikings jersey. And
Lindsay is a Vikings fan.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's her debit card is a Minnesota Vikings debit card. Like she's a pretty big Vikings fan, sadly.
I'll let it pass because it's Lindsay.
Well, half of her family is from the Twin Cities. So...
I said I'll let it pass. I mean, nobody can be perfect, right?
Yeah, there's always got to be at least one flaw, and hers happens to be that she's a Vikings fan. I mean, it's a big flaw, but. But both me and Liz were like, "Oh yeah, we're totally gonna like laugh at you after the Vikings lose, ha ha ha!" And then that field goal happens, and we're just sitting there going, "Don't say a word." But
Lindsay ties the shibari and goes,
yeah. So we're we come home from that, because we watched it over at Liz's place, and we come back over here, and I pass out for like an hour and a half or so, and then I wake back up, and that's what I wake up to, is those videos from Waukesha. It's just, yeah. Brett said the pandemic has made people less human.
Dude,
yeah.
There's an article out of Oregon where a elementary middle school, they had to stop. They had to close the school for like 3 weeks. They're on a 3-week break because of they're having what they call oh god, now I gotta go find the article. I forget the word that they use, but it's blah, 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 blah. There it is right there. That was fast. Oregon school ends live classes over socialization issues and children fighting after a year of lockdowns.
But if everyone's homeschooled, they will. Jesus.
An Oregon middle school will temporarily switch back to virtual learning after it said students had a lapse in, quote, socialization skills following a year of at-home learning caused by the pandemic lockdowns.
Well, and the thing, the ridiculous thing about it is that that's exactly what we were all saying, like, as this began, right? As these lockdowns began, a whole bunch of us were saying they're intentionally they're throwing masks on you because so much of human communication is in your face. So they're covering your face, so they're dehumanizing you. They're then separating everybody and making everybody afraid of everybody else, and it's the ultimate divide and conquer move. And it worked. I mean, the reality is it fucking worked. Like,
well,
we lost this battle.
Well, let's. They're also not commenting on the fact that kids are having to wear masks in school, right? So now you not only have you have kids that were forced to stay home for a year and learn over the computer, which takes learning, right? You have to learn how to learn through a virtual, through right. So now you have to adjust and you have to go back to. You have to relearn how to learn in a physical space, but now you're learning how to learn in a physical space while wearing a mask and being separated and not having to have like traditional recess or traditional breaks or traditional, like, kids here on lunch, they have to sit 6 feet apart for lunch. So they have kids like sitting outside in the cold and in the rain because there's not enough room in the cafeterias. Right. I mean,
and it's
social adjustment. It takes adjustment to get used to.
Yeah,
I don't want kids to have to get used to that.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it's and the thing is too is that it's the physical barrier thing that's been happening is a physical manifestation of what things like racism are for, what things like classism are for, where it creates a divide between us and them, and it's you and others, and it creates this naturally adversarial relationship just by the nature of what you're doing there. You're physically separating people, and that's
a physical separation that has been proven to not be effective at all.
Yeah, that doesn't do anything. That hasn't done a goddamn thing. And but what it had, at least against this pandemic, but what it has done and has done very, very well is it has created this separation between lots and lots and lots of people. The irony is that the people that, the people that are part of the ruling class fear the most, we all came more together over it. So it drew our community closer in and brought more people into our community. People who otherwise would have been Republicans or otherwise would have even been Democrats are now becoming anarchists because they see through this bullshit with this pandemic or plandemic. And
or scamdemic.
Yeah, the scamdemic. They're starting to see through everything because they were so overt consistently through this whole thing about power grabbing. I mean, look at Whitmer in Michigan, and I mean Newsom in California, and like all this stuff. You look at all of these governors who grabbed at power immediately. I mean, Tony Evers here in Wisconsin, Tony the Tyrant. Immediately, like, emergency powers, because it's not like we have heard of this before. This is temporary emergency powers.
Yeah, as Ben says in Sedition, Subversion, Sabotage, he says that the state is a great recruiter of anarchists.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We couldn't possibly have the same kind of recruiting on our own if we didn't have government doing things.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Right. Well, you can lead a person to knowledge, but you can't make them think. Right. You can have intellectual conversations with people, and they can understand or comprehend what you're saying, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they buy it or believe it. So they have to see the reality of the state, or have some sort of situation that causes them to go, hey, maybe
Mhm.
this person is right. Maybe, hey, this is right. Hey, maybe the state fucking sucks monkey balls.
Yeah, wait a
You
minute.
know,
Maybe
that
government really fucking sucks.
that causes them to seek some sort of alternative, or to seek a smaller monster, you know, or something like that.
Mhm. I mean,
So,
I will even be happy with this, all of this converting people to minarchists. I think they're not all the way there yet, but I'm at least happy if you convert to a minarchist, because you're on your way.
to even just like go back to the Constitution. Like,
Yeah.
if we lived in a truly constitutional society, I would never have become an anarchist.
Yeah, me either. If
No.
everything was on the up and up and everything was following the Constitution, I would have no reason to complain, because the government wouldn't ever really be involved in my life on a day-to-day basis.
No.
But that didn't happen, and now what that's demonstrated is that your Constitution is worthless. Was it be it one thing or another? The one thing is, sure, the Constitution has either enabled this form of government or failed to prevent it. In either way, either case, it's useless. It's worthless.
Now, for $1? Who said that?
That was Spooner.
Yes, that was Lysander.
Okay, I'm trying to remember. I'm like, it was Lysander Spooner.
So, all right, let's we've bitched enough. Let's get into an article.
Sure.
Let's start at the top of the list with this one, huh?
With the
school.
I fucking love this article so much.
Just the headline is enough to make you go, oh fuck. I mean, like, you didn't see that coming. Yeah.
So man.
The headline is a school removes student project about fascism after cops complain.
What a shock that it would make them uncomfortable.
Yes.
I fucking love this article so much. Like, we're so not fascist that we're going to censor your all of your free speech to make sure that you only align with what we want.
So this article is from November 18th, so that's 3 days ago. An Indiana high school is on its third day of virtual learning after students staged peaceful protests against the school's decision to remove a class project that expressed views about police brutality and racism from a school hallway. Student resource officers, cops that patrol school halls, were apparently offended by the teens' project, which is based on the 40-year-old comic book V for Vendetta.
Oh, hang on. Can I get that on camera? Oh, there we go.
There it is.
Freedom forever.
The students were sent home after they protested in person at the school on Monday in response to a conflict with the school resource officer, or SROs, who disagreed with opinions that teenagers expressed in a class project based on V for Vendetta, a graphic novel about a revolution against fascism. Students were allowed to interpret the themes of the work freely within the theme of modern day issues in America. Some students chose to write about race, police brutality, and Black Lives Matter, while others wrote about gender identity and sexual orientation. Their projects were moved from the hallway to inside a classroom after a confrontation which offended the student resource officers.
How dare you accuse us of being these fascist monsters? In response to that, we are going to not only yell at you, but we're then going to threaten you with violence if you don't take down this speech we disagree with. Because as we all know, that is completely the opposite of what fascism does.
Totally not fascism. Okay. Quote, so originally we made the posters as a project for the book we were reading, V for Vendetta. A lot of my peers decided to go along the lines of police brutality and BLM. That's according to Gabriel Butler, a 16-year-old junior at Muncie Central High School who completed the project. He said, quote, the police officers felt offense to it. And what started as a peaceful conversation ended up as a disagreement with a lot of untrue statements. While the students noticed how the police officers were acting and heard about our posters being removed from the hallway, a few students got together and had a discussion about what was going on and created a protest that so many students could come to support the fact that they didn't agree either.
And if you haven't seen V for Vendetta, first of all, what are you doing with your life? Second of all, if you haven't read the comic's very, very good. But otherwise, if you're just going to watch the movie, there is a scene in that movie where a guy speaks out on his TV show against the fascist dictatorship that's in place in this fictional Britain, and he is black bagged and executed for it.
Yes. The students angry at protesters at posters being hidden from view at the school peacefully protested the signs and spoke to a group gathered in the school on Monday. On Tuesday, they were forced to stay home and attend virtual classes. Katie O'Connor, a teacher at Muncie Central High School who was assigned to the project, started placing the students' posters in the hallway November 8th. One of the posters showed a caricature of a snarling cop with the names of shooters and shooting victims written around it, as well as quotes from V for Vendetta. Throughout the week, according to a public Facebook post by O'Connor, that was the kid, other teachers stopped to take photos of the posters, but she claims no one made a complaint. On Friday, however, O'Connor wrote that several SROs stopped to make comments about the posters and confronted one of the students about their content. Quote, the display created a disruptive discussion between a student and school resource officers that the student and other observers found offensive. That's according to Andy Colts, chief communication officer for the school. One student filmed
something that's already been talked about in some work of fiction recently.
One student filmed the unmasked SROs gathering around the posters while they discussed the display with staff, and several other students watched and listened. Yes. Quote, our main objective is to have all students feel safe, secure, and respected while at school so they're able to participate to the fullest potential without undue distraction. It is important for our students to be heard. The students protesting have stated concerns that they want action taken so that the change occurs. We are obligated to make the change happen when it is warranted after taking into view all relevant perspectives.
Personally, I don't think that a cop's opinion is ever relevant.
No.
Especially when it's something negative being said about cops. Yes. I especially don't give a fuck what your opinion is.
Yes. Quote, I noticed the three officers observing and discussing the posters amongst themselves. They appeared to be trying to debunk various posters. When the officers began talking to the students who created the poster in question, so the cops took offense to the posters and were talking to the kids who wrote the posters, trying to debunk what was said in the posters.
Cops are fascist piles of shit.
Yeah. Okay. I listened carefully because she seemed visibly uncomfortable to me. I know she respected them, and they were clearly not happy.
We have to teach them our peaceful ways by force.
Yes. School resource officers are armed career cops that are assigned to schools. They have the authority to make arrests and even use tasers and batons on children if they see fit to do so. Their presence at school has increased since the 1990s. ACLU, blah, 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 blah. Yes. So the fascist officers at the school got offended at the anti-fascist material that the school posted on the wall of the fascist government institution, and the government institution responded with fascism. But keep sending your kids to school, parents. Yep. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah, keep sending your kids to public school. What could possibly go wrong with that? Because you wouldn't want them to be unsocialized.
Jesus Christ. This article goes on. It's a Vice article, so it's like unnecessarily long. So this article goes on and on and on about it, and it's just, it's so poetic in how bad it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, and the thing is too is like, again, V for Vendetta is, remember that the government seizes all their emergency powers because of a pandemic that it turned out was lab created and released by the government in order to get them able to seize some power. So you can see maybe where this is a little relevant.
It's a lot relevant. in Minecraft and stuff.
I mean,
just
I will
putting that out
say,
there.
I will say, I'm very impressed with V's ability to sync up fireworks to the 1812 overture. I would not have been able to secretly plant all of those explosive devices in the Bailey.
Oh, I would not able to either because I'm a klutz, and I would have blown myself up.
Boom. Yeah, that's
I
well,
would
the
have
mask.
I would have Guy Fawkes to myself.
Yeah, the mask is a mask of Guy Fawkes, who was, yes, he wanted to reinstitute a Catholic monarchy in Britain and stuff. And don't get me wrong, he wasn't a very good guy, but V also makes that point that it isn't about what Guy Fawkes actually wanted to do, why he wanted to do what he wanted to do. It was about the fact that Guy Fawkes represents the ability to resist tyranny if you want to.
Yes.
And that was the point, that you can fight back, that there is another way.
But, again, as we said earlier, the state is a great recruiter of anarchists.
Mm-hmm.
Ben goes on to talk about how most people will never see the state for what it is because it's the familiar brand, right? The state is Pepsi, right? It's Tide, it's Kraft, it's Ford. It's what mom and dad used. It's who grandpa fought for. It's who grandma supported, and all this other stuff. So as long as that market demand for it to exist, well, then the idea of the state or the desire for an outside authority is going to exist.
Well, yeah,
right?
That's why our great mission is to convince people they do not need the state.
You don't necessarily have to evangelize for anarchism, but if you evangelize the failures of the state and the fascism, the tyranny, the inefficiency, the theft of the state, that's that little cookie that causes people to go, oh, here's a crumb, here's some soup for you, sir.
Yeah. Well, it's the saying, to pull a biblical reference. It's you don't give meat to children when they're babies. You give them milk, and you wait until they're big enough that you can move from milk to meat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing with with status, where when you're trying to convince status to reject the state and to come to anarchism, you have to start off very gently, because remember, you're breaking everything that they have gone through a 12-year at minimum, 12-year indoctrination program to learn. So you're trying to break everything they've ever learned. Their core beliefs.
It's what is it? What's when you remove someone from a cult?
Oh, deprogramming.
Deprogram. You have to literally deprogram people. But you can't. Again, you can't force people to change. You can't force people to think like you. You can only give them the information and inspire them to look at it, to read it, to breathe it in, and to actually challenge their own beliefs. If they're not willing to challenge their own beliefs, then you're pissing into the wind. And as someone who's pissed into the wind a few times, I understand that reference, and it's very accurate.
You know what's funny is there's actually, if you read the King James version of the Bible, there's a line that says, this describing somebody stupid, and it says, he pisseth against the wall, which I've always kind of liked. Because if you're standing too close to a wall, what happens? It all splatters back at you, right? So, it's describing him as being a moron by saying, yeah, that guy gets real close to walls and pees.
I bet Beto's piss sounds feminine.
Oh, he sits down when he pees. We all know it.
No.
But pile of shit.
Speaking of failings of the state, document shows Shreveport misplaced over 1,000 miles of road.
But without government, who would check notes cards, misplace 1,000 miles of roads?
Yeah, this was actually sent to me on Instagram by Lexi, who I was not friends with. She sent me a message on Instagram and it's like, "Hey, I love you guys' podcast. I thought this would be right up your alley." So, thank you, Lexi, for the article.
Yeah, we appreciate it. This is some glorious shit right here.
So yes, the article is labeled "Document shows Shreveport misplaced over 1,000 miles of road."
Well, I mean, it is Louisiana, and integrity in public
Gators-
officials is not
Gators be hungry,
known.
bro.
Yeah, well, I mean, like there's a reason that New Orleans is called the Big Easy, right? Because if you can get into government or any kind of government office, or like a serving government, like a cop or anything in New Orleans, life gets awful easy because corruption and all that.
Yep.
I love how sarcastic this is too.
Yeah, maybe we should check the couch cushions at Government Plaza. Because according to official city documents, the city of Shreveport has lost over 1,000 miles of city streets.
Where did you last see it?
I feel like this mom just staring down at like a 3-year-old. Where did you last have it?
Think back.
Where's the last place you wore your shoes?
Yeah.
Before we get into this, all our numbers are coming from the City of Shreveport's Comprehensive Annual Financial Report for 2020. The document contains information for the city through December 31st, 2020, so changes that have taken place during 2021 will not be reflected. The document is over 175 pages and has all kinds of incredible nuggets on how bad the city's finances are. We won't get into all of that right now. We're just going to focus on what it says about the city's roads. For that, we're going to flip to pages 176 and 177, where we find a list of assets held by the city. The title is Capital Asset Statistics by Function, last 10 years. A fancy way of saying, what does the city own that is worth money? Which, yeah. When we talk about, quote, wealth, whether in a person or a business, the assets are taken into account. So these pages are included to show the, quote, wealth of the city to offset how much the city owes in a way.
Not really, but yeah. Okay.
On these pages, you'll see how many police stations, golf course, hotels, number of water accounts, businesses, playgrounds, tennis courts, and a bunch of other stuff that the city owns. For our focus today, we're going to look at how many miles of streets the city claims as assets. Streets are listed by the mile, and back in 2011, when the document started tracking, the city of Shreveport claimed 3,326 miles of streets in their assets. As of 2020, that number has shrunk to 2,275. That's a loss of 1,051 miles. Just a little less than the roadway to get from Government Plaza in Shreveport to the White House in Washington, D.C., or enough to get to Bowie, New Mexico, or to Cheyenne, Wyoming. That's a lot of missing road.
That is a lot of missing road. How does that happen?
Yes. Now we wanted to know what happened, so we asked 3 different Shreveport council members. Who they are doesn't matter. What does matter is that they all had the same answer, all independent of one another. They all said, quote, it has to be a typo, which would make a lot of sense, except the number listed for miles of streets changes often on this report. So 2011, it says 3326. 2012, 3326. 2013, 3326. 2014, 3326. 2015, 2700. 2016, 2730. 2017, 2732. 2018, 2734. They only made 2 miles of road between 27 and 18.
Apparently.
2019 is 2,518. 2020, 2,275. So they actually lost, what is that, like 243 miles of road between last year and the year before.
Yeah, what the hell is happening? How do you lose road? It's road. It doesn't move.
So where's the typo? Was the old numbers a typo, or were the new numbers a typo, or?
Yeah, like what? It's those damned anarchists. We're taking all those roads because we just hate them so much.
Oh my God! People are taking the roads home.
Right? Screw you guys! I'm taking my road and going home. They just roll it up.
just roll up the road and sell it on the black market.
Yeah, start looking for roads for sale on eBay. I bet you can probably find them. How? 1,000 miles of road for sale in Shreveport. How the fuck?
Like how can you be that inefficient at something, or let a typo if that's a typo? How could you let a typo that big get away?
I don't, and it can't possibly be a typo.
No.
That had to be that has to be legit. But like, did they change how they were counting their roads? Did they sell roads? I mean, I've seen roads disappear, right? Like there's
flooding. It happens. I understand that.
Well, no, I mean like they cease to exist. Like there's here in town where I live, there used to be a road that went from La Crosse to Onalaska, and it cut across it was Rose Street. It used to cut all the way straight across and go all the way up to Onalaska. That no longer exists. They actually tore it all up, and it just so now the street at the end of a neighborhood just ends. And it used to continue on. So that's a chunk of road that stopped existing. In Viroqua, a little ways south of me, when they built the hospital, about half a mile worth of road got completely deleted so that they could put hospital stuff there. Maybe all the shoeless hippies and prostitutes that hang around the truck stop walk the roads bare. I just ground it down.
Oh.
Oh, come on. We know they probably tried to sell them for scrap. Pay for their H habit.
They're out there smoking asphalt.
Bunch of dirty hippies. Say they want to change the world, but they just smell bad.
Oh.
How do you... I mean, 1,000 miles? 1,000.
1,000 miles. Well, I mean, to be fair, government is not the brightest.
Yeah, what? How do you...
Come on. Say something I can segue with.
What's the next article? Hang on, let me look.
I have a surprise article. It's not listed, but we're going to go to a different government inefficiency article. We're giving government article.
Well, I don't understand how you can, like, and it's not like there's documents here that they can point to and go, oh, look, here's where all of this, it's like just this report suddenly goes, oh, by the way, we have 1,000 fewer miles of roads. We seem to have lost some. Sorry about that. Our bad.
Well, not only that, it's 1,051 miles that disappeared between 2013 and 2021, but it's also like 248 that disappeared between 2020 and 2019.
Yeah. What? How do you just... Oops. I don't know where those went. Oh, well, it's probably not a big deal. Were there like people who used to be able to drive to their house and then suddenly they're like, damn it, there's no road anymore.
The mosquitoes picked them up and flew them away.
Yeah, granted, Louisiana is sliding into the ocean continuously.
Yeah, not to the tune of 248 miles of road in a year, though.
Yeah, that would be... I feel like people would notice that.
Yeah. I feel like that would be on every global warming poster, on every global warming ad.
Yeah, like 200 miles of road and it is Shreveport, so I don't know, but
people don't care.
Yeah, not most people just don't give a shit. They like to pretend that Shreveport doesn't actually exist, in my experience.
Oh, how about another one that doesn't exist? Atlanta.
I wish that one didn't exist either.
You ready for this one, Brent? Cops thought sand from her stress ball was cocaine. She spent nearly 6 months in jail. I'm not making this up. I wish I was. It's sand from a stress ball. We'll get into that. Add stress balls to the list of innocuous items that have landed innocent citizens in jail due to shoddy police work and unreliable drug field tests. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit ruled last week that 2 Atlanta police officers are not entitled to qualified immunity from a civil lawsuit brought against them by Wazima Goldring for malicious prosecution. Goldring says the officers falsely accused her of jaywalking and cocaine trafficking, based on a field sobriety test of a powdery substance inside a stress ball
So it didn't
that
even
she
leak
had
out.
in her purse.
It hadn't even leaked out. This was still contained within the stress ball.
No, we'll get it. They had to cut it. They cut open the stress ball
Right.
to
That's what I'm
test
saying.
the
Like,
substances.
this is an intact stress ball
Mhm.
that they had to physically break to get to the sand inside.
Yes. Goldring spent nearly 6 months in Fulton County Jail because she couldn't afford bail, and told local news outlet NBC64 that she was occasionally put into solitary confinement. What's more, she was left in jail for 4 months after 4 months after a crime lab concluded that the mysterious powder was sand and not cocaine.
4 fucking months after they knew that it was fucking sand, which is
Yes.
predictable that it was sand because it was inside a fucking stress ball.
They left her in jail for 4 months after the test confirmed that it was sand.
That it was sand.
I mean, first off, the fact that it took 2 months to get lab results back on fucking sand is ridiculous. The fact that she was left in jail for 4 more months after the test came back is just unconscionable.
It is the state of Georgia. So, like, I
Yes.
fully anticipate that it's going to be nothing but police misconduct and all sorts of shit anyway. Because, again, it's the state of fucking Georgia.
Hello, brother.
How's it going, guys?
Chris has arrived.
We are talking about stress ball in Atlanta that was cut open on a field test, and it tested for cocaine. So they threw the woman in jail, and it took 2 months for the lab results to get back and confirm that it was sand and not cocaine. And then she was still left in jail for another 4 months after the test comes back.
Well, and like Brett just pointed out in the chat here, the live chat, he said, how do you confuse sand
How
for
you
fucking
confuse
blow?
sand for yayo is what I want to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, like how...
I don't know, brother.
I've never seen sand that's that white.
Or that powdery.
Right.
Well,
I can't say that. I have seen sand that was that powdery. It's just pulverized.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess that could exist, but like, you're not going to put it in a stress ball.
Yeah,
Like, you're not going to put coke in a stress ball. Like, that's...
if you have
No, because all that's going to
now.
do is stress you out even more.
If you have
I might now.
Like the dust from like granite countertops, when you sand granite countertops, or you cut out, you know, the space for the sink and stuff, or the bull noses and stuff. Like, I can understand like that powder is pretty powdery, but it's not cocaine powder. It's not even close.
Well, and you want to test and see if it's cocaine. You can literally go like this, get a little bit, stick it on your tongue. Does your tongue tingle? Oh, it's probably blow.
Well, they use the field sobriety test or the field drug test, right? The little...
You mean the ones that are never actually accurate?
Yeah, they're like I don't know, it's like 72% or something like that. They're not admissible in court.
Yeah,
right. And then continue to hold her after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, the NARC2, it's NARC2, the NARC2 field test for drugs. Mm-hmm. It mentions that they're manufactured by several different companies, used by police departments, prison systems across the country. They use the instant color reactions to indicate the presence of certain compounds found in illegal drugs, but those same compounds are also found in dozens of known illicit substances.
The article gets into that. Hold on. According to the 11th Circuit Court of Opinion, Atlanta police officers Vladimir Henry and Juan Rostapro stopped Goldring on October 10th, 2015 for allegedly jaywalking. Goldring claims she wasn't jaywalking. In any case, the officers took Goldring to the police station and proceeded to cut open the stress ball they found in her purse and to test the powdery substance using the NARC2 field test for drugs. As Reason reported earlier this year, such drug test kits are manufactured by several different companies and are used by police departments and prison systems across the country. The test kits use instant color reactions to indicate the presence of certain compounds found in illegal drugs, but those same compounds are also found in dozens of known illicit substances.
Illicit substances, not illicit.
Substances. As all the tests are fairly simple to use, they're still prone to user error and misinterpretation. Last year in Georgia, for instance, a college football quarterback was arrested after bird poop on his car tested positive for cocaine. A Florida.
What the fuck?
How you gonna like you're gonna see?
It's obviously bird shit.
A
Why are
Florida
you
man
gonna
was
even
wrongly
test that?
a Florida man was wrongly jailed in 2017 after a field test confused his donut glaze with meth.
I remember that.
I feel
one.
like of all substances, cops would know. Donut glaze would be one of them.
Well, yeah, if anyone knows what donut glaze looks like intimately, it is fucking pigs.
In 2016, sheriff deputies in Moran County, Georgia, arrested Macon resident Dasha Fisher after a search of her car turned up a plastic bag of blue crystals. NARC 2 field test of the substance returned a presumptive positive for methamphetamine, and Fisher was charged with trafficking and possession of meth with intent to distribute. Fisher sat in jail for 3 months until a state lab determined that the substance was blue cotton candy.
It doesn't. Cotton candy can't. There is no way physically that cotton candy can ever resemble methamphetamines. There is just it can't happen.
If you're a cop just looking,
remember,
arrest.
The industry sued for the right to not hire high IQ individuals and won.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
which means if you're a cop, chances are you're a fucking idiot.
Well, that was the case before they sued for the right to.
Yes, a follow-up investigation by a Georgia news station found that the NARC 2 test kits produced 145 false positives in Georgia in 2017. So that's 145 people that were arrested because this little roadside field test is fucking stupid.
And you know, having lived in Georgia until they kicked me out, as I've covered on the show before, I am banned from the state of Georgia. But having
it's a shithole anyway.
Well, yeah, I'm not mourning that. But having lived there, I can tell you exactly why too. They milk you so hard for fees if they can go, you had drugs. Even if it's pot, you will wind up probably on probation for a number of years. You'll wind up in jail for a while. You'll have to pay a bunch of fees for both of those things. They're going to charge you fees for this and that, and they are going to milk you for all you're worth. I mean, the saying in Georgia when I was living there was, yes, Georgia, come on vacation, stay because you're on probation.
Yes. Yeah. However, Goldring and the Atlanta officers also dispute the results of the field test. Goldring said Officer Henry huffed and puffed as he conducted multiple field tests on the powder, none of which changed color. Henry testified that he performed 2 field tests by simultaneously breaking the 3 glass ampules inside the test kit and shaking it. Both tests in the liquid turned a bluish purple, which Henry and Respapo interpreted as a quote faint positive.
If that was actually cocaine, physically actually a bunch of fucking cocaine, you are not going to get a faint positive from testing the actual cocaine.
No.
The 11th Circuit's opinion noted that the 3 glass ampules inside the NARC 2 test are supposed to be broken sequentially, not simultaneously, and that doing the latter would result in a, quote, meaningful finding. It also notes that only a, quote, pink over blue color change is considered a presumptive positive result. Unsurprisingly, the results of Goldring's case didn't hold up under further testing. The Georgia Bureau of Investigations concluded on November 17, 2015, that the powder in Goldring's stress ball wasn't cocaine. However, the state didn't miss the charges against Goldring until March 21st, 2016, during which time she remained incarcerated.
They kept her in jail for months.
4 months. 4 more months.
Knowing that she was innocent. And they did that solely because if she is in jail, they get money from the federal government for having her in jail.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because that is the state of fucking Georgia, which I despise on a level I cannot begin to properly communicate.
The 11th Circuit, affirming a lower court ruling, held that Henry and Restrepo, or Restrepo, R-E-S-T-R-E-P-O,
Restrepo. It's
Restrepo. Yep. Are not entitled to qualified immunity from Goldring's lawsuit because there's a genuine factual dispute over whether Goldring was jaywalking and whether the field test returned positive results.
Yeah, it's Restrepo. There's actually a fob. Well, was a fob in Afghanistan that was called Restrepo after Doc Restrepo.
Derica is getting ready for Thanksgiving. She's having her family out, so she's cooking and cleaning and doing all that other.
She's doing adult
awesome
shit.
family mom stuff. Yes.
Yeah, adult family stuff.
She's doing the stuff we all take, that the three of us take breaks from on a regular basis.
Yeah, this is the way that I hide from.
Never.
Well, this is the way that I hide from stuff like that, like adulting, as I
agree.
I become a niche internet micro celebrity.
Yeah, so she was stopped October 10th. The field or the investigation concluded November 17th. So that's what, a month and a few days, month and a week. And she wasn't released until March 21st of 2016.
The amount of money I would be demanding out of these motherfuckers is staggering. Staggering.
You'd never have to work again.
That's the fucking plan.
And your kids would never have to work. And
I would be trying to bankrupt that fucking police department. Now, obviously, it's not going to happen because they are just going to bilk the taxpayers for all of that money, unfortunately, because why should the police themselves have to pay a goddamn thing? But thankfully, because they were denied. Refund. Well, because they were denied any qualified immunity, she can sue them.
That's
personally.
who she's suing. That's who she's suing.
So what's going to happen is that their homeowners insurance is going to have to pay that.
Well, unless they have personal liability insurance.
Yeah, which is unlikely.
Highly unlikely.
Some police departments require it, but I believe Atlanta Police Department is covered under a policy that covers the whole police department.
Probably.
So all right, I don't know where to go after that one.
Let me pull up.
I have a secret article that I didn't put on the list.
I do really want to talk about Andrew Coffey.
All right, let's go to coffee and then we'll get to the other one. You want to read the coffee article?
Yeah, I can. Let me get it pulled up. There we go. So while the other self-defense verdict was happening, that we're not going to talk about because everyone else is talking about it and we're sick and tired of fucking talking about it. And yes, Chris and I live in Wisconsin. We're well acquainted with that case. We're not going to fucking talk about it.
The victory lap that people are taking is fucking disgusting to me.
It is, because this article should be a victory lap article.
Yes, absolutely.
The other verdict, that guy, like, I can simultaneously think that he's innocent and a bootlicking pile of shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
I can disagree with him completely on politics, but he has a right to defend himself.
Yes.
Yes.
As anyone does. And they do,
regardless.
I don't care.
I don't care where he's from. I don't care if he crossed state lines. I don't care if he was a minor with a rifle. Yeah.
None of that matters.
Jacob, we've been up for about an hour, bro.
Yep, right around an hour. So once we're done and it uploads,
we always start at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Give or take a few minutes.
Yep. All right. So, and speaking of that, I mean, like this, it doesn't matter if you're defending yourself, you're defending yourself, and it doesn't matter the costumes that people are wearing when you.
This is the same situation that Breonna Taylor was killed in, and her boyfriend. The charges were dropped for the same reason.
Yep.
So, but this happened in 2015, right?
2017.
2017. So this is well before Breonna Taylor. So
yeah,
right,
and this is and contrary to popular, like what especially the progressives want to keep saying, the we are simultaneously going, yes, Rittenhouse was innocent, and going, yeah, that's a victory for self-defense. And when Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, was acquitted, we also said, yes, that's a victory for self-defense. And this guy, Andrew Coffey IV, who is black, by the way, despite, because we're not white supremacists, also, this is a victory for defense.
I'm in Cali, bro. Just putting that out there.
Got that covered. So the article is jury acquits Gifford man who claimed self-defense after girlfriend was killed by sheriff's SWAT team in 2017. This should sound familiar, as we just said, with Breonna Taylor. Vero Beach. That's Vero Beach. I don't remember where that is. Anyway, a Gifford man who claimed he was defending himself and his girlfriend when he fired shots at deputies during an early morning raid in 2017 was acquitted Friday of charges that carried a life prison term. A jury found Andrew A.J. Coffey IV, 27, not guilty of second-degree felony murder, 3 counts of attempted first-degree murder of a law enforcement officer by discharging a firearm, and 1 count of shooting or throwing a deadly missile. Shooting or throwing a deadly missile, because there's so many people running around with javelins nowadays.
He picked up that shell behind you.
Well, I mean, you said Vero Beach, right?
Yeah,
that's in Florida. So I mean, they do have a fairly healthy adult population down there.
Oh, the
Seminoles, right?
Yeah, so I mean, I suppose they could be hurling some sort of missile with an atlatl. Let's see. So anyway, in a separate proceeding Friday, the same jury convicted Coffey of 1 count of possession of a firearm by a felon. So I roll. I really hate when people, well, you're a felon, you shouldn't have. Fuck you.
Well, this case does follow legal precedent, which, fuck that. But where the fact that you're a felon in possession of a firearm does not preclude you from using that firearm in self-defense.
Yeah. Now, what's really infuriating about that is that his sentencing on January 13th, he faces a maximum prison term of 30 years. And the assistant state attorney, Chris Taylor, said after court, the state will be seeking that maximum of 30 years upon him because they couldn't get him for defending himself. They want to get him for the simple fact that he had the means to legally defend himself.
Yeah.
No. The charges related to a March 19th, 2017 firefight between a sheriff's office special weapons and tactics team, SWAT, and Coffey the fourth at his home on the 4500 block 35th Avenue in Gifford. His girlfriend, Alteria Woods, 21, died during the raid after being struck by 10 bullets fired by a SWAT team member, including 1 shot that entered her chest, records show. The second-degree murder count, defined as an intentional killing that was not premeditated, was in connection to Wood's death. Jurors seated last week for a trial that began Monday deliberated for about 11 hours before returning a verdict. The jury began deliberating Thursday afternoon, following closing arguments, worked until around 10 p.m. After court Friday, Coffey's attorney, Adam, there are not enough vowels in his last name. Trzan, Chrzan. There is 1 vowel in that man's name.
The Ukrainian guy.
Yeah. Said his client was relieved when it became clear the jury was acquitting him of the most serious charges. Quote, I think they weighed the evidence and applied the law and took into account the defense that we were provided, and we argued successfully, clearly, that there was some overreaction and overreach by the sheriff's department on that raid, Trzan said. They should have pulled back. They didn't. And this is what happens when you go into a volatile situation without all the information. Trzan blamed the sheriff's officials for, quote, creating the situation that triggered, end quote, Wood's death. The jury found that he was defending himself and Alteria and that he needed to do this. Coffey on Wednesday testified on his own behalf, as he did in March during a stand your ground hearing seeking immunity from prosecution. Then he told Circuit Judge Dan Vaughn he and Woods had been asleep when deputies at the back of the house broke out the window to his bedroom using a pole that detonated a flashbang device. Pretty standard way that they raid. They wait until you're asleep. I mean, they did the same kind of thing to Duncan Lemp when he and his girlfriend were asleep.
To a lot of people.
Yep.
To Breonna Taylor and her boyfriend.
Yep. They also, Breonna Taylor and Kenneth Walker, they also were asleep and were suddenly attacked by a bunch of armed, insane human beings. Moments earlier, SWAT team members at the front of the house had quickly taken his father, Andrew Coffey III, into custody after a brief struggle just outside the home's front door. During his March hearing, Coffey IV said he thought he was being robbed when he saw what appeared to be a rifle sticking through the open window pointed at him. He insisted he didn't know the raid was underway when he fired a .45 caliber pistol out his bedroom window, shooting it 2 or 3
God's
times.
caliber.
Yeah, that's not God's caliber. That's 10 millimeter is the Lord's caliber. 45 antiquated crap pistol.
10
It's
millimeters.
only good if you're going to
10 millimeters. Odin's caliber.
That is truly the spear of Odin. Anyway, deputies in turn shot more than a dozen rounds toward the bedroom window, court records show. After the gunfire, investigators searched the house. Woods was discovered deceased on a bed in Coffey IV's bedroom. In the elder Coffey's bedroom, deputies found marijuana, cigarettes, oh God, crack cocaine, along with 10 hydromorphone pills and 1 oxycodone pill, both painkillers. So he had crack, marijuana, and painkillers, and that justified murdering someone and almost murdering another person.
That's your war on drugs, America.
Yeah.
You feel proud yet?
Yeah. Oh boy. Thank God they're keeping us safe from a guy who is doing a few drugs.
I'm not reading that one out loud, John.
Yeah, we're not going to go there. After the gunfire, investigators searched the house, blah, blah, blah. A grand jury in July 2017 cleared SWAT team members of any criminal charges, and a sheriff's office internal investigation, I realize you will all be surprised, cleared them of any violations.
So
they
shocked.
Investigated themselves and found they did nothing wrong.
So shocked.
Yeah, exactly. I am just floored. How? When has that ever happened? They're usually so trustworthy. In June, Vaughn denied Coffey's bid for immunity under the state's stand your ground law. An appeals court in October declined to overturn Vaughn's ruling. Taylor Friday said he respected the jury's verdict, but still rebuffed Coffey IV's claim self-defense. Quote, because of course he did, fucking piece of shit. Anyway, obviously, we believe that the state's case was righteous because of course you fucking did. We proved our case beyond a reasonable doubt. Obviously, you did not, but the jury did not see it that way for the first part of the trial. But we are glad that justice was done. He was found guilty of the possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Coffey IV has a criminal record that includes 4 felony convictions, Taylor noted, which he said allows the state to seek an enhanced punishment for the gun conviction. Because, of course, they're going to go after that because now he's successfully gone up against them. Like, it's fucking. Let's see.
How dare you not respect our authority?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The SWAT said, the sheriff's office said, it's disappointing that this jury did not see that the tragic death of Alteria Woods occurred as a direct result of the actions of Andrew Coffey IV. Our deputies were there as a result of drug complaints and sales and took fire from Coffey, upon which they had no choice but to protect themselves and others.
You absolutely had a choice. You could have said, no, we're not going to raid this house over a victimless crime.
Yeah. You could have, I don't know, knocked on the door and like after you arrested the guy out front, because remember, the guy that they were actually there for, they had also already arrested. He was in custody and they still went into the rest of the house guns blazing.
Yeah, it's just insane.
Yeah, and then they want to go on, oh, well, we feel so bad for the Woods family, Alteria, the girlfriend that died, but we stand by our statement that she would still be here had Coffey simply complied with law enforcement. Complied with what? He woke up to you sticking a flashbang into his bedroom. What was he going to fucking comply with, asshats? You didn't even give him a chance. And that's how these no-knock bullshit raids work. They just show up and they start shooting. She was studying to become a pharmacist, by the way. She was working as a pharmacy technician at a Publix. In January, Woods' mother, Yolanda Woods, filed a civil rights lawsuit in federal court against the sheriff's office and deputies involved in the raid. The lawsuit was recently put on hold pending the outcome of Coffey IV's trial. Others inside the house the night of the raid have also filed federal lawsuits against the sheriff's officials, including Coffey IV, his grandmother, Vivian Scott, and her friend, Leslie Lowry.
Yeah, it's insane.
So, I mean, all of these people who were there clearly blame the sheriff's department for what they did. Every single person but the sheriff's department blames the fucking sheriff's department for what the sheriff's department did. And what a shock that the sheriff's department doesn't blame themselves for what they did.
I have an extra co-host. Sorry, guys.
All good.
Anarcho,
Listen.
baby.
Those are the best co-hosts. I'm just putting that out there. No.
Like, I don't know what the hell's going on right now, but I don't
Pretty
think I like
much. I just woke up and I licked an electrical outlet by the looks of my hair.
it.
Bed hair's the best hair.
Oh, that's car seat hair.
Same thing. Everything's a bed when you're that little.
Yeah, it's
Or
to
grunt.
to paraphrase, it's as antistate.net has that wonderful shirt that says, "Remember, your freedoms aren't being lost; they're being taken by people with names and addresses."
Yes.
And that is an important thing to remember.
Now we'll never be able to monetize this podcast.
And we never get to monetize anyway. We always do something that gets us demonetized.
Occasionally we get monetization on Rumble, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and it's because you know, a lot of times because we support local single moms
That's right.
Yes.
and women working their way through nursing school and things. They're going to be doctors.
They're already doctors. Never mind. I'm not going to finish that statement.
They like to play doctor anyway.
something prostate something.
Yes, we're all enemas of the state.
Enemas of the state. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Snap.
No. All right, let's jump on to another really quick one. Damn it, John. I sent John the link, or Jack, sorry. Jack. Sent Jack the link and told him to join us. But he's like, I don't have anything set up. I don't fucking care.
So
Do you have a microphone? You don't even need a camera.
You just need a microphone. Just get your use your phone. Click the link with your damn phone. You fucking sissy. Because I have a secret. I like this habit that I've gotten into of withholding articles from you guys.
yeah.
Because you like to see us go
I
completely
do.
bananas?
I really do like the genuine surprise and genuine anger. It is fantastic. I think
Well,
I think it makes for a good podcast.
There's
too.
not a whole lot that the state does anymore that surprises
Oh no, it's
us,
not.
but they
It's
do
not.
make us
It's not
angry.
necessarily. It's not the state this time. It's an opinion article written
Oh,
by
Lord.
a site that you guys don't like, and that makes it extra spicy.
Oh, I do want to call out too that Brett called pot jazz cabbage, which is now how I'm going to be referring to it exclusively.
Reefer madness,
gonna-
bro.
I'm going to tell my daughter about that.
Yeah. Well, speaking of jazz cabbage, the FDA wants 55 years to process an Freedom of Information Act request over the vaccine data.
55 years.
Over
50.
300,000 pages of data, and they want to release it at a rate of
Yeah.
500 pages per month, which would take
Yeah.
them 55 years to
Freedom of
complete.
Information Act requests are really speedy, but when a group of scientists asked the federal government to share the data it relied upon its licensing Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine, the response went beyond typical bureaucratic foot dragging, as in 55 years beyond.
Wait, and it's scientists that are requesting this. This is scientists.
Yes. That's how long.
Science. Well,
That's how
apparently
long
scientists
the
aren't getting
Food and
science.
Drug. That's how long the Food and Drug Administration, in court papers this week, proposes it should be given to review and release the trove of vaccine-related documents responses to the request. If a federal judge in Texas agrees, plaintiffs, public health and medical professionals for transparency can expect to see the full record in 2076.
Long after.
Everybody's dead.
Yeah, everybody's either dead or sick or sterilized, or at that point, then we'll tell you everything.
Yes. The 1967 Freedom of Information Act law requires federal agencies to respond to information requests within 20 business days. However, the time it takes to actually get the documents, quote, will vary depending on the complexity of the request and any backlog of requests already pending in the agency. Oh, that was a cute little sneeze. What's up, brother?
Hey, he finally actually came on. What do you know?
Yes,
I have
we saw
to
the asshat.
Pause you guys in the background. Sorry.
Oh, yes, we saw the asshats. The asshat kill as a bunch of people at the SUV in Wisconsin. We talked about
Yeah,
it. At
we
the top
actually
of the-
talked about that at the beginning of the show. Yeah.
So-
So once we're done, go back, watch that first hour. We talked about it.
All right.
So this is our homie Jack or John or whatever you call him.
Handsome
Whatever
Jack.
the hell he is.
Handsome Jack. That's what you're going with now.
Handsome Jack. That's
That's
what
all right.
most women call me.
That's right. We all lie at times.
Yeah.
We've all got faces for radio here. It's okay.
Yes.
Every single one of them.
All right.
Yeah.
So I brought Jack on, or John, or whatever you're gonna call him. I brought him on specifically because of this article. I want his reaction to this article also.
Oh boy.
Oh my.
Hey, I will try and keep you guys monetized.
Oh, we're already
Well,
demonetized.
I've already demonetized.
We
this,
weren't
so-
monetized to begin with.
Yeah, it's
Perfect.
already happened.
We just want to stay on Spotify.
It's Andrew just needs to watch his mouth enough that we don't get kicked off of every possible media
All right,
platform.
Okay. All right. Right. Okay. So this is an article from Salon. Salon.com.
Oh, of course it is.
Globalist is an epithet now, but some of history's greatest thinkers supported world government.
No, they
No?
did not.
Which ones?
I would like examples.
It specifically lists Albert Einstein as one of them. Yes. COP26, the climate change summit that ended in Glasgow a week ago, resulted in a pact signed by almost 200 nations. Experts have decidedly mixed views about the extent to which this worldwide agreement will be useful, but one thing is clear. Most of the international community understands that if we are going to survive global warming, different nations will need to work together. Humanity's alteration of our atmosphere is a planetary problem, something that is almost by definition cannot be tackled by individual country on its own. Yet there is a snag. The mere concept of international organization is so politically charged that the term globalist has become a common right-wing epithet. It's also a popular anti-Semitic dog whistle. Today, it seems unimaginable to have a serious conversation about humanity uniting under a world government to fight climate change. In the not-too-distant past, however, some of history's greatest minds pointed out that a powerful global institutions would need to hold nations accountable when crises emerged that threatened our entire species.
You can't even get 1,500 people in my local community to agree on jack shit. How in the hell are you going to get 8+ billion people to agree on anything?
Well, you don't have to get them to agree. You just have to get them to comply.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the thing. That's a
And
very
there's
good
enough
point.
that
You know?
aren't.
No, see, that's the thing. The government and those in power expect a certain number of outliers, right? And those outliers are the balances of their power. See, what it comes down to is they don't want to force you to comply. They want you to want to comply.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want you to just do what you're told.
No.
I want you to want to do what you're
Mhm.
told and obey me in
Yeah.
every possible way.
Yeah. What's the 1984, right? Where he learned to live Big Brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we
The
Winston Smith, right?
yeah,
Winston
yeah,
something
it's
or other, yeah.
yeah, and there's it's the same thing with that famous episode of Star Trek Next Generation when Picard is
Mhm.
taken hostage by the
Borg?
Cardassians.
Oh, the Cardassians.
No, it's the
Okay.
Cardassians, and he's trying to make him say that there are 5 lights or whatever, even though there are 4. You know, there are 4 lights. That
Mhm.
scene, that's what it's about. It's about you internalizing what you're being told rather
It's,
than just
accepting.
obey.
What's the old experiment with the monkeys? The monkeys in the ladder and the banana in the water.
Yeah, where
Right?
they kept spraying them, hosing them
Mhm.
down every time they
Well,
went up
that's
the
what they
ladder
did.
to
Is
get
they
bananas.
they started with 4 monkeys in this cage and a ladder, and there's and they lowered a banana from the ceiling. The monkeys would climb up the ladder to get the banana, and so they turned on the water, right? And it was cold water and make the monkeys freeze. And eventually, the monkeys learned that when they climbed the ladder, the water would come down and it would freeze them, right? So then they removed one of the monkeys and they put in a new monkey. The banana comes down from the ceiling, and the new monkey tries to go up the ladder to get the banana, and the other 3 monkeys stop it and beat the shit out of it.
Yep.
Right, and this continued until they had replaced the other original monkeys. So now you just had the 4 monkeys that learned through pain response to not climb the ladder. They don't understand why not to climb the ladder. They only understood that when you climb the ladder, the other ones beat the shit out of you. So they didn't understand the original intent or why. They just knew the compliance.
Which
Yeah.
religion was this?
It was a scientific experiment,
Oh,
right? Trust the
oh,
science.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't. I mean, that's the thing that you see as actually even a theme in tons of fiction where they talk about how, and obviously I really like Star Trek. Lindsay really likes Star Trek, but I really like Star Trek. And so like when you watch through episodes of a bunch of the different shows, you'll see where that's like a constant thing where everyone just accepts that you're not supposed to do whatever thing. And no one actually knows why not. They only know that you're not supposed to do it. They don't know what the consequence is going to be because all of the people who would have known the consequence, or in a lot of cases made up the consequences, they're all gone. So everyone just accepts that, well, you're just not supposed to do this. That's what they're after, especially with like the pandemic and all this other shit. That is what they're after. They're after, everybody to simply so internalize that this is what you do that no one ever questions whether or not anything will actually happen to them.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes, one of my favorite philosophers is Leonard Peltier. And he has a really good quote that says, only one thing sadder than remembering that you were once free, and that's forgetting you were once free. So if you don't know freedom, I would say that is sadder than realizing that you lost your freedom. See, we're all old enough to understand, and like we were all born in the 80s, early 90s, that we're of an age that we remember a time before 2001, before the Patriot Act, before the NDAAs, before the TSA, before the internet took over.
For
there was
Department
a
of Homeland
time.
Security.
Yeah, there was a time when you could get on an airplane, and I realize that younger people may not realize this, but there was a time when you could just go and you at most walk through a metal detector and then just get on an airplane.
I was still alive when you can walk into a gun store and buy a fully automatic weapon.
Yeah, I was not. I was born the same year that you couldn't do that anymore.
Before
I was born the year before.
I was 6 years old. No.
Yeah, I mean there's the amount of changes that have happened just within our lifetime. These alterations that have occurred, where everyone just accepts them now. Everyone just accepts that they're being constantly monitored by the government. They just accept being constantly monitored by huge corporations like Google and Facebook. Sorry, Meta. I roll.
Fascist book.
Yeah, they just accept that this shit's happening, and they don't ever and like this younger generation, that Gen Z, they don't ever remember a time when that wasn't a thing, where you weren't constantly monitored, where you weren't constantly connected, where you weren't constantly under surveillance and being treated like you were endlessly about to become a terrorist. Like they don't remember this time when you could freely travel, when all of these things could happen. And now you have these even younger kids that have grown up largely in this pandemic where they completely don't understand.
That last line right there, peer pressure kills freedom. Mob mentality.
Yep.
You have to appease the mob, because if you're an outlier from the mob, then you're an outsider. And we as humans are social creatures. So you have to find your own tribe outside of the mob in order to survive. If, like the lone wolf, lone wolf is a terrible, terrible, terrible existence.
Yeah, the lone wolves
Mhm.
tend to not survive.
Mhm.
They tend to in nature when a wolf gets
No, they
expelled from its
write
pack.
fantastic books and send
Yeah,
mail
they
to
write
people.
manifestos and things, but they also carry
Where's my
apparently
pen?
264 guns up into a fucking hotel unnoticed, along with all these
Allegedly,
rounds,
yeah.
and build platforms and knock out hurricane-proof windows, and
You know,
that's also what
stuff
lone wolves
that
apparently do.
everybody does.
Yeah, as you do. It's
No.
yeah, that's and that's but I mean in nature when a wolf gets kicked out of its pack, that's a death sentence.
Mhm.
It's going
Right.
to die
It will
because it
Banishment.
needs that support.
Yeah, it will seek another pack.
Yep.
No,
Now,
but,
all of this is maybe you think about the frog slowly boiling. Now, what if it's a generational boil?
mhm. Well, I mean that
We turn
not
up the
just-
heat on you guys a little bit so that your children are conditioned to this is the temperature, and then we turn up the heat on them a little bit.
Yep.
I mean, that's what's occurring.
like my children don't know a world without the Patriot Act, without the NDAA, without the Iraq War, without the Afghanistan War.
Yeah.
'Cause
Right.
they were 1.5 years old. But when 9/11
Yeah.
happened, like I was on my way to college, and I heard it come over the radio, and I turned around, went home, and ended up changing diapers for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
like,
remember, I mean, anybody who's 18 right now could go into the military, but have never lived in a world pre 9/11.
There were people that were
Right.
serving in the same war as their parents in Afghanistan. I don't know if you guys remember, there was a couple of articles, and they were like
Yeah.
glorifying it, that these were multiple
Well, it's the
generations
same
fighting
thing
for the
now.
country.
It's the same thing now in Iraq too.
Mhm.
That
Right.
was 18 years ago.
Yeah, it was 18 years ago. Yeah, Iraq was 03. March, I think,
They're,
if I remember right.
So
Schumer just introduced a bill to withdraw the AUMF for the Iraq War.
That's probably not going to pass, but it's a nice.
Good gesture.
Yeah, it's a nice gesture, but
it's
the reality
smoke and
is
mirrors, realistically.
All right.
well, yeah, and like I've talked about on this show, I talked about on Magnus's show and everything else. War is really big business. It is really, really big business, and so is tyranny. It is very big business. So anyone who wants to make enormous gobs of money wants to do it assisting government.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's literally guaranteed paychecks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but all right, back to the article. There's a few words in here I know you guys are going to get triggered by. Prior to World War II, the primary thinkers on the subject of world government were motivated by pacifist ideologies.
Oh, fucking.
The medieval and romantic glorifications of war increasingly become outdated as technology made its human consequences more horrifying.
No.
No.
This is like Dr. Gatling, right? Remember, the Gatling gun was invented because Dr. Gatling thought if he could make an efficient enough killing machine that it would stop war. That happened in the 1860s.
Yep.
Hold on.
Well, we're getting closer.
In place of the chivalrous view of warfare, great scholars from German philosopher Immanuel Kant to English author H.G. Wells urged a federation of all nations. Their thinking was as simple as the formula which applied to the cantons of Switzerland. Urge member states to work with one another on a confederate system of government, and then make sure that the central authority has enough power to effectively prohibit armed conflict. If the structures were applied to every country in the world, the logic went, war itself could be abolished.
Yeah, they also thought that if you had ghosts in your blood, you should do cocaine about it.
Well, if you've got a big enough prison planet, then the war stops.
For hysteria. I'm just saying, not all the ideas are bad.
And they also gave you heroin. Jesus Christ.
I don't know.
Give you
Man, you got
heroin
ghosts
for
in your
cough
blood.
syrup.
You should do cocaine.
Well, that's
about
what. Yeah, cough syrup was like cannabis and cocaine and like formaldehyde or whatever.
So it
Oh
worked.
yeah, there's. Oh
And it
yeah, I
worked.
saw. We
So,
actually.
it was
we-
effective, but
Yeah, well, we actually saw when we me and some buddies we were out west, and we actually were exploring this ghost town that had been abandoned. And in what used to be this general store, one of my buddies found a bottle that was like a cough syrup from like the 1890s. In it, and when you looked at the ingredients, it was like 0.5% cocaine, 0.5% like fucking heroin. There's like laudanum in it, mercury. I'm like, and it like on the label, it's like great for children, and I'm like, no, it is not.
No.
special cherry
Jiminy.
flavor just for the kids.
Yeah, cherry flavored cocaine, heroin, and laudanum. Oh boy,
Fun for the whole family.
Ovaltine used to be fucking badass.
All right, okay. I have two paragraphs. I have two paragraphs, and we'll be done with this. We move on to the last one. But perhaps the most eloquent conveyor of these views was Theodore Roosevelt, who was hardly a pacifist, but saw world peace as a admirable ideal. A year after his presidency ended, Roosevelt spoke to the National Prize Committee, who had given him a peace award years earlier for brokering the end of the Russo-Japanese War, about why an international peacekeeping organization would be a quote masterstroke if it had enough power to effectively nip potential wars right in the bud.
Praise the UN.
Because Teddy Roosevelt was an interventionist and a supremacist, right? He was an American supremacist. So what he meant when he said that was the United States could rule the world and keep all of these savages in line. That's what he meant.
Hold on.
This is the way.
It's one more paragraph, and then we'll stop. Quote, this is from Teddy Roosevelt. Quote, the supreme difficulty in connection with developing the peace work of The Hague arises from the lack of any executive power, of any police power to enforce the decree of the court. The former president argued, while it made sense that the nations would refuse to relinquish their arms so long as there was a plausible risk of foreign attack, it was another to do so after, quote, the community is so organized that each nation can reasonably assume laying down its weapons will not imperil it. Quote, each nation must keep well prepared to defend itself until the establishment of some sort of international police power, competent and willing to prevent violence as violence becomes nations.
America, fuck yeah. Coming again.
Australia, fuck yeah. Australia, fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, just like the thing is, and he said this in what year?
This was the year after his presidency ended, so the 1930s.
No, well, let's see. Teddy Roosevelt was president. He was 26th president of the United States.
President until 1909. So 1910.
So like we're talking about as Woodrow Wilson is coming to power and going, hey, once I get to be president, I bet I could take over like Mexico. A lot of people forget that he tried to do that. And Teddy Roosevelt also was like, hey, I bet I could take over Mexico.
San Juan Hill. You remember how that worked?
And like this shit. This is in the middle, right, of Pancho Villa, and that a lot of people forget that Pancho Villa also invaded the United States at one point.
Did he invade the United States, or did he invade Texas?
No, he invaded. Well, Texas was a state, so I mean it was part of the U.S. But it was a state by then. Texas was a state by the time the Civil War happened, actually. But he invaded some town in, I don't remember if it was Arizona or New Mexico, but there was like this big shootout and like machine gun, Maxim guns. That's another gun that was invented because, if we can make warfare so terrible and mechanical, no one will want to fight it, was the Maxim machine gun. I mean, technically it was actually invented on a dare. But yeah, the modern machine gun was invented on a dare. Hiram Maxim, his competitors in the United States wanted to get rid of him because he was really fucking good. So they thought, well, the way that you get rid of a really good inventor is you hire him and then you send him to Europe. So that's what they did. And so his competitors hired him and then sent him to Europe. And then while he was there, somebody like basically dared him to like invent a machine gun. And that would make war so terrible, no one would want to fight it anymore. And thus the Maxim machine gun, the father of all modern machine guns, was born. The gun that saw action with every belligerent power in World War I, which, as we all know, was a very low casualty, short-lived war.
But the next one was the war to end all wars, right? End all wars.
That was World War I. Was the war to end all wars. World War II. So the League of Nations is established.
That League of Nations is the precursor to the United
the precursor
Nations.
to the UN. Yeah, and don't forget. Speaking of World War II, let's also remember that Neville Chamberlain with his peace in our time, like as he has the signed peace treaty with Hitler. Yeah, that worked out well. Like, no, these people were delusional as shit because they were drinking cough syrup with a bunch of cocaine and heroin in it.
I'm just saying options exist, bro.
The Craig Jorgensen rifle is a kick-ass rifle, by the way, and everybody forgets that was standard issue for the US. It had a snail mag, which is super neat. Like, you loaded rounds in the side and they like snailed up and around. It was super cool. It was incredibly technologically advanced. It was replaced by the 1903 Springfield.
Jacob says Columbus, Mexico. So Columbus, New Mexico was the city that was attacked.
Okay, yeah, Columbus.
Pancho.
Yeah, Pancho Villa. Yeah, that, I mean, like, and that's another chunk of history that like everybody forgets happened. Like, conveniently, like that the US was getting super involved in Mexico and like sticking its grubby little hands even back then under the Monroe Doctrine, still sticking its grubby little hands in things like that. And so when Teddy's talking about, well, we just need somebody who has enough power to be the world police, he is talking about Team
himself.
America World Police.
No,
that's why the U.S. has a military budget that is more than the other, or the next 10 highest spending countries combined, or something.
I think it's the next 7, but yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Brett, to answer your question, Lewis gun was World War I. Actually used in World War II as well. Pretty popular gun, but the Lewis gun was really only used by the US and Britain for the most part. Sometimes France. France had the Shosha, which is actually not a bad gun, but legendarily bad because the magazines had giant holes in the side, which in a muddy environment is a brilliant idea. How could that ever go wrong?
We're talking to you, F1 ARs.
Yeah,
F1 Works, or whatever you called yourself.
Yeah, the Shosha was really popular. Actually, weirdly, the Shosha was converted to be 30-06 for the United States too, and it also got a bad reputation for that because the mags didn't really like to run 30-06. But
all right, we're running out of time. Let's get to this last article. This is a fun one.
But Andrew can talk guns all day.
Oh, dude, I can talk gun history for weeks.
And Andrew has his own YouTube channel, and he used to have an Anarchist Weapons Wednesday where he did that.
Yeah, well, you know what? If you had 2 girlfriends that you simultaneously had to try and keep happy and they ate up all your time, you would probably abandon a podcast too.
Lose one of the girlfriends?
No.
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 Both. You're right. More guy time.
All right. This is fun. This is from
Andrew's already had to beat it into a freaking porta potty over in the desert. He doesn't want to have to do that.
Yeah, I never want
the snow Arctic tundra too.
Getting off in the porta potty is strong. Getting off in a porta potty at 112 degrees in the sun, that's army strong.
All right, what's the next article,
All
Jason?
Right, so this is from my area. It's the jail is just over Mountain Diablo from me, so it's south and a little west of me. Security guard arrested after not wearing a mask on the bus dies in Santa Rita jail. Right, this gets so good. You guys are gonna love it.
Oh yeah, it sounds like it. Sounds like it's gonna be amazing.
It sounds like Andrew and I are gonna have an aneurysm.
You might. It gets worse and worse. I'm sorry, it gets better and better and better and better and better.
We keep saying that, and I still don't believe it.
A security guard from Oakland who died in Santa Rita jail this week had originally been arrested for not wearing a mask on the bus this summer. and then swearing at the bus driver.
Oh no!
Bite your tongue and just obey.
The story of what happened to Maurice Monk, a 45-year-old security guard who suffered from mental illness and who died alone in a cell on Monday, raises questions about the care he received while incarcerated and why he was in jail in the first place. The sheriff said Monk's death appears to have been from natural causes.
Oh, I'm sure.
He was one of 2 people to have died in Santa Rita that day. Both men suffered from bipolar disorder and schizophrenia. Their families said a total of 55 people have died in Santa Rita since 2014. So 55 people have died in this jail since 2014.
In 7
And
years,
2 in one day.
55 people.
Yes.
2 in one day.
Alameda,
I'm sure, absolutely natural
It's
causes.
definitely natural causes. It has nothing
Oh.
to do with the fact that the warden
Just-
is like ordering jars
just
of
wait. Just
human
wait.
nipples and things.
Just wait.
That's-
Just wait. Just wait. Alameda County Public Defender Brendan Woods said there is no legitimate reason to hold Monk in custody. Quote, there's absolutely no reason I could think in regards to why the court would keep Mr. Monk essentially locked in a cage when he's suffering from mental health issues from missing a court date. The system continues to fail Black and brown people. The system continues to fail poor people. The system continues to fail people with mental illnesses.
How about
Yeah.
the system
Hold on.
continues to fail?
Just
well, yeah. It
Wow.
still
This-
fails.
well, this is when it gets good.
Oh, good.
He was jailed
gets
in early October because of a missed court hearing stemming from the June arrest involving his mask. At first, let's see, his sister said at first she was told that she couldn't provide the medication because the pills had come from Kaiser. Then she was told she could email the prescription information to the jail, but her emails seemed to go into the junk basket and were never received.
What a surprise.
Finally, she was told to fax the information in. She was about to when authorities showed up on her doorstep to say that her brother had died.
What an oopsie doodles.
Yes.
Our bad.
Our
I guess
bad.
the
Yeah,
guy who he
yeah, so
denied
I
his
skipped-
essential medication
Fuck,
to.
I skipped a paragraph. Monk's sister, Elvira Monk, told KTVU on Thursday that she had tried repeatedly to get her brother his medication, which he needed to treat his illness in Santa Rita. When he was brought there in early October, he also suffered from diabetes and high blood pressure. So this is
Life-saving medications.
life-saving medication,
Right.
and then couldn't get it.
Well, he doesn't need it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this
Quote-
guy was brought in initially for not wearing a mask.
Okay.
Because
He was.
he missed the court date. They issued a bench warrant for his arrest. He was arrested,
Mm-hmm.
caged, and died in jail because he didn't have all of his medications that he
Yes.
needed to stay the
Uh,
fuck alive.
Quote, it all started because he didn't wear his mask on the bus. He started arguing with the bus driver and went to jail. Court records support what Elvira Monk said. In a declaration to the court on November 3rd, 12 days before Maurice Monk died, Deputy Public Defender Nira Day Kerrigan urged the court to let Monk go home to his sisters, Tiffany and Elvira, who helped make sure he went to his medical appointments. She argued unsuccessfully to get his bail reduced. Alameda County Superior Court Judge Barbara Dickinson denied her motion.
And now the man is dead.
And now he's dead.
Well,
Hold on,
how much was
hold
her
on.
bail? Or,
It doesn't say, but hold on. Court systems had waived bail during the coronavirus pandemic as a way to limit the number of non-violent offenders in crowded jails, but those policies have since been reinstated over the objections of activists and public defenders. They argue that high bail only keeps people of color and poor people in pretrial incarceration, with while those with money committing the same crimes can go free.
Well, yeah, when even the public pretenders are like, this is such an egregious
Yes.
miscarriage
Right.
of any semblance of justice.
But it's
when even
California.
they
What do
say
you
that-
expect?
Yeah, I mean, but God, when even they say that, like
Yeah.
that should be a real big klaxon for people that, hey, there's a problem
Yes.
here.
Elvira Monk provided documentation that Monk had been seen by a psychiatrist at Kaiser since 2015 and receives Holodomor injections every 4 weeks. His last shot was on October 6th, and he was due to get another on November 6th, 9 days before his death. He was taken into custody on October 11th. Haldol is a drug used by schizophrenics to help them think more clearly and feel less nervous.
Yeah, without it, they effectively go nuts.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Uh,
Is it something?
Yeah,
Something
Elvira
you're
Monk
familiar with?
quote, made every effort to contact Santa Rita authorities to provide them with her brother's medical history and to have the jail administer them the Haldol. But her, quote, efforts have been in vain. If Mr. Monk misses his next shot, his treatment plan, well-being, and mental health will be severely compromised, the attorney wrote. And Monk obviously never got that shot.
Well,
Probably the
state-
added pressure on him as well. That didn't help his mental condition. You know,
Well,
being
and-
locked in a fucking concrete box, that helps
Yeah.
everyone out, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Mhm.
locked in a
Oh, yeah.
cage, not able to see the sun, fucking denied medications, not just
Right.
mental health medications, but medication. If he's diabetic, I mean, medications that are literally needed for him to survive.
Well, and
Right.
high
And
blood
that's-
pressure too. I mean,
Yeah.
freaking, he can have a heart attack, no
Mhm.
problem.
And we
Yeah.
we
Or
know
stroke.
and we know that jail food is not. It doesn't cater to people with diabetes or with high blood pressure.
No,
well,
it's
not
very
only
high
that,
in
but
salt.
on the side of the boxes, it says fit for human consumption, which means it's one
Yes.
step above dog food.
Yeah,
He was facing a
it's-
charge of making a, quote, criminal threat stemming from a June 2nd incident when he wouldn't wear a mask on a bus and cussed the driver out. He told the driver he would fuck him up, but he did not hurt him in any way, the public defender's office wrote. Monk left that bus and removed his mask from a second bus also. He got into an argument with another driver, which is when he was arrested.
it's such. I mean,
Over
and
a
it's
fucking
all
mask.
because he wouldn't wear a fucking muzzle. Because again, the man had mental health issues and was probably freaking out about the fact that he felt claustrophobic. He felt trapped. These are things that happen when people who have anxieties and things wear masks.
Mhm.
Part of the reason why I fucking basically couldn't. Part of the reason why Lindsay couldn't. Big reason why Lindsay couldn't.
Yes. In an interview, Elvira Monk said her brother said he couldn't breathe in the mask.
Because
Yeah,
he started
which-
panicking.
Because he
Which-
started having
n-
anxiety attacks.
Not only that, but
Right.
like, this is the Bay Area. This is San Ramon area, which is inland. So during the summer, right, arrest was like June 2nd. It's 95, 98, 100 degrees. Without doubt, every single day, 95, 98, 100 degrees. Up to like 105 sometimes, wearing a mask
Jesus.
in a city bus.
Right.
Yeah.
No, fuck that.
But it's a dry heat.
No. Once it's over 95, the humidity
It's
doesn't
just hot.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Shit,
in
I
an
start
interview,
sweating at
said-
65.
Yeah, said he couldn't. After his arrest, he was sent to John George Psychiatric Hospital in San Leandro and was released after about 2 months. He still had to attend court hearings though. So he was arrested June 2nd, released
For an argument.
spent 2 months in a psych ward,
For an
gets
argument.
released. Prosecutors first charged the criminal threat as a felony, but it was reduced to a misdemeanor a month later. He has had no arrest since 2004.
It's
So this
just-
man wouldn't wear a mask and decided to let them know he wouldn't wear a mask. They didn't like how he said it,
Mhm.
and he got to die. So figure it out,
Mhm.
Yes.
America.
yeah, so yeah,
Well,
for his
it goes-
defiance, he was executed essentially.
It goes
Yeah.
along
Oh,
with
yeah.
what we've all said many times. There's nothing so minuscule that the state won't kill you over it.
Yes. Oh,
And the
hold on.
state
There's
starts with your first neighbor.
There's a quote coming up. Whether or not he received any medication at the jail was not addressed. In an email, Sergeant Ray Kelly said, quote, "It's unfortunate when a person passes away at our jail. Many of the people who come to us suffer from serious illness, poverty, and lack of access to regular external health care in the community." He added,
Or in the
quote,
jail.
He added,
Or in the
quote,
jail. Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
"We
lack
go
of
to
access.
great lengths to make sure all people in our custody receive exceptional health care and other services.
You know, I've been fucking in
Lies.
jail a couple of times. Not one time have I ever ever thought, wow, they're really going to great lengths to make sure that everyone has quality health care. Not one fucking time has that ever seemed like a thing to me.
I've only been in
Oh.
jail once, and it was for less than 24 hours. And
The reason Monk did not attend his court hearing in October, that's the one that led to the arrest warrant, according to the public defender, was that he was stopped at the entrance for an unknown reason and told he couldn't enter the building.
Because he wasn't
He
wearing
didn't have
a
his
fucking
mask on.
he wasn't wearing a face diaper.
An
Yes.
unknown reason.
At that point in time, a bench warrant was issued for him. His family said they couldn't come up with the $2,500 to get him out.
So they told him they wouldn't let him in, and then arrested him for not showing up when they told him he couldn't come in.
Well,
Yes.
because they set extra conditions on his entry. You know,
Literally a barrier to entry.
Mhm.
yet another hoop. Jump through it. Come on,
Yeah, come on, monkey,
Jump.
dance, monkey.
jump.
So his original arrest was for not wearing a mask. His second arrest was again because he wouldn't wear a fucking mask, most likely. And
Mhm.
now he's, the state has essentially executed him
Yep.
through medical means,
Medical
medical execution.
Negligence.
negligence. That's what I was looking for.
No, I call it execution because
It
I
is.
guarantee
It is.
you,
It's a slow execution.
Well, it's
I would-
execution. I mean, it
he-
was
he was-
purposeful.
He
It
was
was- that's why you
absolutely, he
can't
was
say negligence.
absolutely medically tortured.
yeah, like I
Yeah.
said, that's why you can't say negligence. It's a medical execution by the jail.
And
for
the
not
reason
wearing a mask. For
For
not
not
wearing a
fucking
mask.
mask.
I guarantee you, the reason that they went so far out of their way to get this guy to die was because they were like, "Oh, well, you're not going to wear your mask. Well, see, you want other people to die, so we're going to kill you because clearly you
bet-
don't care about your health."
I bet he.
That's
I
what
bet
they
he
were
did.
doing.
I bet he refused to wear the mask while he was in jail too.
Yeah.
When
Mhm.
you're in Gen Pop here in California, you're supposed to wear masks.
He's probably listed as
Really?
a COVID death.
No shit.
Really? It's like a prison inside of a prison inside of your head, which is a prison, which is
Mhm.
On a prison in a prison
Yep.
nation on a prison planet.
Yep.
It's prison.
get excited.
Ah,
Prisonception.
hashtag please Elon get us off this planet.
Yeah,
Ugh.
come on, Musk. We're all looking at you, buddy.
needs her brothel on Mars. Come on, let's go.
I was
Yeah.
joking about that the other day because who was it? It wasn't Elon. It was one of the other ones that said that only a small population is going to be able to stay on the planet. So like the rest of us are going to be forced to leave, the planet. And I think it was I think it was Bezos, yeah. And when I was talking to Lindsay about that, and Lindsay's going to help Derica co-run the brothel on Mars.
She would too.
Wait a
And we were
second. So they're talking about they're basically going to turn this into a dumpster fire and then fuck off somewhere else.
John, look around. It's already a dumpster fire, bro.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even more of a dump.
Or-
Like I kind of.
Or this is also a possibility. They're going to keep this nice and kick all this riffraff off the planet.
Yes, that's the plan.
Oh.
Mars is the new Australia.
Yeah. What was the Arnold movie where everybody's working?
Total Recall.
Total Recall.
Total
Yeah.
Recall. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be. Is it's going to be that no. Earth has to be kept beautiful, so it's only for the beautiful people. Whereas everyone else, I don't even want to see
We're
the
all-
riffraff.
that,
So it
that
just
sounds like the
goes out
inverse
of
of
my
Elysium.
vision.
Well, yes, it's
Yeah.
reverse Elysium.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's
And just
right.
for
gonna
shits
be-
and giggles, when I was talking to Lindsay, Mars gravity is only 38% that of Earth's. Right, so something weighs 100 pounds on Earth and only weighs 38 pounds on Mars.
I'm an
Sweet,
ultra
I weigh
lightweight.
60 pounds.
So
Yeah.
so that means there's a lot of possibilities at a brothel on Mars. I'm
Oh
just
yeah.
leaving it at that.
And
Oh.
well, just remember,
Whoa.
that in zero
things
gravity.
things will float.
Spin.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, in zero gravity, doggy style and reverse cowgirl are the same.
yes.
So
I wonder.
I said
just-
something to the effect of if you jumped on Mars, your boobs would act like sirens calling people in.
Oh man.
Oh, See, Andrew's got a visual now.
Interesting.
Yeah, I do. I do have a visual. That's
Andrew's over there looking for Lucy Lawless, going, "Bring on the Flugelkentheimer."
Oh my
That's-
goodness!
Are
Over
you
fucking
kidding me?
mask,
Liz would
bros.
also want to help run a fucking
Yeah.
space brothel. That's both of them would be all about running a space brothel. I guarantee it.
We need to get them on the podcast at the same time, just so they can.
No.
You
tell
got to get. I
that
mean,
story
once
about
you
you.
have a space brothel, though, you got to have 3 tits. We got to have someone
Yeah,
there
we-
with
we-
3 tits.
You know the funny thing is,
So-
funny story about that though, real quick, is I actually found years ago. I actually found a one of those the actual screen used prosthetic from the original Total Recall with the 3 boobs on it for sale on eBay, and in the description it said "great for men and women,"
Interesting.
and I'm like, but is it though?
But is it though?
So could it be combination brothel and justice system? Death by snoo snoo.
Yeah.
It can
There's,
be whatever you want it to be.
There's a
Fair enough.
3-boob-breasted lady freak show costume, triple fake false breast Total Recall, for sale on eBay for $104.
See, it's cheap. Look at
Oh,
Yeah. Very affordable.
Yeah,
nice.
it's very-
Has nice potential.
that. I mean, the problem is he's symmetrical, so there's
Mhm.
issues there.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're that one guy who did that Reddit AMA. I'll start my own planet with blackjack and hookers.
Oh, we're coming by.
I fucking would too.
We'll be
I
there.
would totally, I would totally have be like, yeah, we're doing this. Like,
Want to start
So,
my
yes.
own town. I just got to
Yes,
find
Jacob.
land.
Yes, Jacob, that
Middle
was
of
a
nowhere.
fucked up story. And as always, the links will be in the description below. Although they're not right now because I haven't
live.
edited the YouTube. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Woohoo.
yeah. Woohoo. Woohoo, he says.
Yeah.
Oh,
Woo.
awkward silence.
Is it that time?
Yeah, we got about 3 minutes left.
Yep, we've had our plugs running down below there, scrolling that way.
That way Andrew doesn't have to go on a 10-minute tirade about his or 10-minute rant about his plugs.
We still don't have a winner for this yet, though.
Just send it to me.
They won't let me on Facebook. I thought about that. When you said that last show, I'm like,
Comment
well,
on-
this is
comment on
gay.
YouTube.
I
You
can't even
could've-
qualify.
You could have messaged one of us, bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
You have
I got to
us on
start a
Telegram.
patch collection,
You
though.
have us on
So,
Telegram, bro. my
Yeah,
patch
that's-
wall is getting full.
oh,
dude,
look
I still
and-
need one of those.
And Spirit of Resistance, they're having
yeah,
a
you
sale.
shared that.
They're having a sale. If you buy 3 items, you could get 2 patches or stickers for free. So 3 patches cost me with shipping $23.50.
You are such an enabler right now.
I am so
Right.
this is from Spirit of Resistance. I bought this one a while.
I'm gonna. Well, considering that Chris and I have started our own cult, religion, church, we totally need to keep your rifle by your side, patch,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
we were talking about like for religious exemption and stuff, and I'm like, hey, that sounds like a great money making way to reach out to the wayward of the world.
Right? if you've played Far Cry 5, you know that John was not
Yeah.
wrong.
He wasn't. wrong.
His methods weren't great, as the same as Uncle Ted's aren't great, but he wasn't wrong.
Nope.
Far Cry 5. See, I don't play video games.
You got to play Far Cry 5. If you only play one video game, and this goes to everybody else,
It's Call of
if you
Duty.
only play one.
No.
No, it is
No.
definitely not Call of Duty. It
It
is
is
Far
Far
Cry
Cry
5.
Far Cry
If you
5.
only play one game, because Far Cry has a history of amazing villains who are really well written and very interesting, and the storyline, the plot is always really good. But Far Cry 5 is the pinnacle of the Far Cry series, and Joseph Seed is the best villain in the
Mhm.
history of fiction. Like, holy
Okay,
crap.
you're like
Is this a PS3 game? Or
PS4.
what?
PS4, Xbox One.
Mhm. But
You can even get it on PC for Steam.
Yep. PC.
there's
Oh, okay. I'll
Uh,
check that. Yeah.
yeah, check that one, and it's the soundtrack for it is fantastic also. Like there's
Yeah.
a song called "Keep Your Rifle by Your Side."
Yep.
And
They'll
Mhm.
have tanks and they'll have guns.
yeah,
Mars is basically Tatooine, Jacob says.
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, it sort of is. It's-
Buy me merch, you simps. So you know what simp stands for? Super into mashed potatoes.
Yep, I'm a simp.
Get the fuck out.
I simp. Super into mashed potatoes.
I thought you didn't eat potatoes anymore, Andrew.
I do eat potato. I just
He's
don't eat
fucking
fried potatoes
Irish.
anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what
I
do you
just-
mean? It's in his blood.
Yeah, I
Well,
can't
no,
eat
he's
fried
literally-
potatoes.
He said
Literally in his
he
blood.
said not
Not
that long
fried?
ago that he doesn't eat he can't eat certain potatoes anymore because
Yeah.
he ate so much when he was a kid.
I basically I went through like 4 or 5 years of my life where literally every meal either included or was entirely
Yep.
sliced up fried potatoes. That
Yep.
was it.
I
That was
was
all
that
I ever.
I was that same way growing up because potatoes and top ramen and rice and the brown gravy packets. That's literally what I consisted on for about 4 years.
Yep.
Macaroni
Yeah.
and cheese.
I mean, I did
Takes-
get other
takes butter and
meals.
takes butter and milk.
Yeah,
Jacob,
that's-
you need to join the Church of the Iron Harvest.
Yes.
So,
Yes, the Church of the
Do
Iron
you guys
Harvest,
have
which is-
any merch for the Church of the Iron Harvest?
Not
working on
yet. My one girlfriend Liz is actually she used to run a print company. Like, so she did TNT trinkets and trash and stuff. So she actually can print all that stuff for us pretty easily.
Oh, yeah.
She still has the hookup for that.
I,
yeah,
I
like,
also
I
have
mean-
a friend who does like t-shirts and stuff, so we can make sure that all that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I even have a parking pass. So
A minister park. Hold on a second. You got to put that one a little bit close. Like, this looks legit.
It
Yeah.
is.
it is.
Well, yeah, it is. All right.
Both Andrew and I are ordained
so yeah, there's
ministers.
the I don't know if you guys can read that or not.
Mhm.
No.
That doesn't want to. There it goes.
Oh yeah.
2 for 3 sale. Buy
2
any
for
3
th-
items, get 2
3
patches
sale.
or stickers. Sweet.
Yeah, it's the Kenosha 2 for 3 sale. Buy any 3 items and get 2 patches or stickers for free.
You know, talking about Kenosha, and I'm not going to bring up that one trial. There's another trial that's going on down there of a
Mhm.
girl, 17-year-old girl, who is being trafficked,
Yep.
and she executed the guy who was trafficking her.
Yep. To get
And
away.
she was
So where's the
denied
problem?
self-defense protection by the court.
$6.
She is standing
I'm telling
trial
ya.
for first-degree murder of the person who was trafficking her.
What kind of fucked up system? What kind of fucked up person wants to keep this system or think that, oh, well, we can vote and change it just a little bit and everything
Ooh,
else,
I need
yeah,
that
that's
one.
a bad part. We'll get rid of that. Like, there has to be
Mhm.
some kind of like thought blocker process there. Like, oh, don't go down that path.
Well, there is. It's the same thing as the monkeys, like we talked about. It's about the monkeys
Right.
and the. We don't know why you shouldn't. We just know that we've been told that you shouldn't.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Crystal Kaiser is her
Yep.
name.
Yep. Crystal's spelled a weird way.
Yeah.
by the way.
But yeah, so
Oh,
she
I really need that one.
It's PVC and they're
She-
good quality.
Crystal is 17.
Yeah.
How old was her victim? Let's refer to him as the victim because
Apparently
he wasn't
he
doing
was the
nothing
victim.
wrong. Yeah, he did
Yeah.
nothing wrong.
let's see. Yeah, it doesn't say on this one.
I don't remember. I want to say he was like 25 or something.
Was it a boyfriend?
Probably.
I believe it started out as a boyfriend, yeah. And then he
Yeah.
started trafficking her. The pedo hunting
That-
permit patch is fucking great. I need that one too.
I need that one.
Oh, Twitter has been just awash in pedos and pedo apologists since the Rittenhouse trial, but the the best part though is that so many people are just like, I don't even fucking care what your opinion is. You're not a human. Like, you're not a person. If you're a pedo, you're not a person.
Oh,
anymore. I don't
yeah,
fucking care.
that's great. That is a great attitude.
Hey,
See,
good
I'm glad
news.
all I have is Telegram Because that's
Good
all I
news
see.
from Crystal Kaiser case. This was back from June. The state appellate court overruled the trial court in her case, saying that she can use the trafficking evidence as part of her defense.
Good.
For a
Yeah, because the
self-defense
jury
case.
needs to hear about that kind of stuff. Like
what
this
was
wasn't
happening
just
to her.
because he was exactly. Like this is what led up to it. I didn't just randomly choose to shoot this guy in the face.
Nice. Yeah, there's the Zero Foxtrot, which is a site that I buy a lot of stuff from. Actually, my End Bloodlines hoodie that I had on is from Zero Fox. They have the I'm a lead farmer motherfucker with the from Tropic Thunder. So I really want a patch of that. I'm a lead farmer motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
Crystal Kaiser, young black woman and sex trafficking victim from Kenosha, is accused of killing the man who sexually abused her.
Yeah. So she could get away. She killed him, and now she's on trial for it, and it's fucking ridiculous. Like, no, that woman absolutely deserves to just walk.
Now, with the Kyle case, though, do you think that's gonna maybe open up the possibility for her to walk?
I
You
think
know what
so.
I mean?
I think it's possible.
With that creating a new precedence of all right, this is what self-defense
it didn't
looks
really
like.
create a new precedent, though.
No,
Right,
it didn't.
right, but
I mean, what they use is it was a bunch of
it's changing the minds of
little
people, though.
existing laws. It was a bunch of little existing laws that they used to create this. And then the guy Gage, testifying, literally shit the bed. Literally shit the bed.
Yeah.
Well, and that other witness that when the prosecution was like, "Well, we didn't ask you to change your testimony, correct?" And he was like, "Well, yeah, you did."
Yeah.
I loved after Grosskreutz came out and went and acknowledged that he didn't get shot until after he had already pointed his weapon at Rittenhouse, and you see Big Boy on the prosecution just sitting there like, oh fuck.
Yeah. Brett had a great comment right there.
The memes are fantastic. Like the memes are my favorite part.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Again, I hate the victory lap that people are taking.
Yeah, because this isn't really a victory. This is just a maintenance of the status quo, realistically. It's just that this particular time, the jury actually paid attention to
and the mob didn't rule.
Facts.
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah, Brett also brings up the Obliged shirt. I actually almost ordered that one. That isn't one that I ordered. I did just buy 2 more because I bought one of their Wooby hoodies for my daughter for Christmas. But because she loves my Wooby hoodie, I have a Flecktarn Wooby hoodie, and Wooby hoodies are like the greatest invention ever. So
I would contest that only insofar as saying that baby Woobies are the greatest invention ever.
I mean, they're pretty neat, but I gotta tell you, Wooby hoodies,
silkies are a high bar.
The Ranger
silkies are comfortable.
I mean, they are. I may or may not own a few, but again, they're called Ranger panties for a reason.
I own a few pairs too.
Although I also own a pair now of Hawaiian print boxers.
Now I'm jealous.
Yeah,
that's my Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah, that's from Duluth Trading, by the way. My little brother actually runs their safety now. Duluth Trading, which apparently was atrocious and horrifying.
Yeah. So
all right,
let's get out of here, huh?
All right. Well, thanks for having me on, guys.
I'll go back to recovering from hypothermia.
You have to wait until we do the plugs. And then we say thank you, John, for coming on and hanging out with us.
Well, why you gotta throw? What?
Well, do we even have to listen to Andrew do the fucking plugs because they've been scrolling for 2 hours.
John's over here putting the jackass before the cart.
Hey, hello, anarchist. Hello. Doing it my way.
That's right. But we didn't volunteer to associate with that particular jackassery.
Hashtag
I can withdraw my consent.
Nap about it, okay? Sir. Nap about it.
Dude, I'm so my brain is so fried right now. I came home from deer hunting today.
I saw the picture of your son's deer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deer.
Hell
what was that?
yeah.
The 270 or something?
243.
243.
Yep.
Okay.
About a 50-yard shot broadside. The thing
Nice.
like
It looked-
jumped
it looked
straight
very-
up in
it
the
looked-
air and just dropped straight to the
Yeah, it
ground.
looked very clean.
Yeah,
A
Oh,
righteous
yeah.
kill.
Mhm.
Yep. There
Yeah.
was
Excellent.
there were no lungs, just liquid.
Nice.
So Tommy did good.
Yeah.
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 Very good.
No.
All right. Yeah, but if you're listening and not watching, you can't see the little thingy scrolling across the bottom there. So if you go to thebeardstruggle.com, use code Anarchist15, you get 15% off of all of your beard care products. They just released a new line of scents, including their platinum scents, because they used to only have gold and silver. They added some more. They are amazing scents, and the products work very, very, very well. They're fantastic. Also, don't forget to check out Derica's book, which is Think for Yourself. And I have a copy sitting behind me. I'm sure just about all of us have a copy sitting around somewhere. It is fantastic. It is a workbook. It is great. Check out Poppin's Patches. He makes this patch, which is also on my hat, as you can see. That is a Redcoat NPC ATF agent. And we are giving that one away. We just need to have an actual winner. We may have to modify something to pick somebody.
John, you want to read that?
Oh,
John's not gonna read. Nobody's gonna read that.
John's not going to read it. No, it's
Silkies are the
the
best. Keeps my balls segregated from my thighs like a pre-1960s neighborhood.
See, I'm not sure which comments are allowed to be read.
Oh, yeah.
He wouldn't be putting it up there if it wasn't allowed to be read.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but,
true.
We're already demonetized, so fuck it.
Yeah. So
So,
that's which is why we have the sponsorships. Why we're doing the plugs again. Poppin's Patches. Check him out.
You guys are
If
getting
you
paid.
follow him at this point, if you follow him on Twitter, I will also be cool with that, and
Yep.
we'll do a giveaway. Just let us know that you're following him on Twitter. We'll double check if we randomly pick you. If we get a message, hey, I started following Poppin's Patches on Twitter, we'll pick from that and send you a free freaking patch, which is pretty cool. He also sent me another great patch that you guys, I'm not giving it away because Lindsay wants it, but it is the scariest pumpkin,
Oh Jesus!
and it is a Joe Biden as Herbert the Pervert pumpkin patch, and it's fantastic. As soon as he sent it to me, Lindsay's like, "You're not giving that one away. I really want that one." So,
Okay. Before we head out of here, there's an updated article on the SUV Christmas parade thing.
Oh yeah.
Hit more than 20 adults and children. The police chief said some people have been killed, but would not give an exact number,
oh
and that
Jesus,
they also have a person in custody, but he did not give any indication of a motive.
it's because it's Waukesha, man. It's Waukesha, and that's part of like right around Milwaukee. That whole section of the state. Fuck that section of the state.
A group of girls wearing Santa hats and dancing when a white pom-poms is struck. Another shows the SUV plowing into members of the marching band, their music replaced with terrified screams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
11 adults and 12 children were injured and transported to hospitals.
one guy that I saw that was interviewed said that only he and his wife escaped injury. The entire rest of his family, is what he said, is currently in the hospital fighting for their
And
lives.
again, the police chief said some people have been killed, but would not give an exact number. So
I'm telling you, just
Tar and
give them to
feather.
me. Give
Tar
them to
and
me.
feather.
We'll have a conversation.
That last comment by Jacob. If you can only remember that far back, you might want to clear the bong resin just a little bit.
we have been on Spotify since we started on Anchor, which I think was
that pre-episode 69?
November 2019,
I want to say something like that.
something like that. So we were on the air for
I've been on a while, man.
And going back to Waukesha, I
Mhm.
would love to see what I've been wanting to see what 10 millimeter does to soft tissue. I'm saying
as all this talk about wood chippers. I'm just saying I've never seen one in action, and so we don't know scientifically if it would work.
Now,
Mr. Chippy is looking kind of hungry.
The wood
I do have a
chippers.
wood chipper here. I mean, we can
big enough? Because the little one I priced out was like $750, and you can put like brush in it,
Well, the one I have, you can put brush in it, but I mean, if you were to
like
say,
little, like
Like,
bigger
zoo-
ones.
Zoo
but
animals need to
you,
eat too.
You can get 3-inch,
Yeah.
3-inch branches
Oh,
in there.
Processing.
I mean, you
right.
could like tourniquet off limbs and then slowly remove piece by piece and just feed it so he can watch each piece go into the wood chipper.
Your
I mean,
Minecraft
haven't you
game
guys-
is fucked up, bro.
Yeah. Haven't you ever watched Deadpool 2? Come on. It's we just need him
Golly.
No.
to borrow one of the ones from the county that they have. And,
Yeah.
There's actually
All
a
right.
place just down the road from my house. You can rent the big ones.
On
from.
that note,
yeah, see?
Brandenburg v. Ohio, 1969, ruled that the government cannot punish inflammatory speech unless that speech is quote, directed to inciting or producing imminent lawless action and is likely to incite or produce such action.
Do you remember the first time he had to bring that up, Andrew?
Oh yes, I do.
I have it fucking memorized.
We have tap danced around that ruling so many times.
I have it
Ugh.
spurt out of my mouth just randomly from time to time.
Yeah,
It's
You're
like-
in the grocery store.
It's like a song lyric in the back of my head. Just poof.
somebody cuts you
pops
off
up.
in traffic,
Well,
and that's
think-
immediately you just say that. And
In the grand scheme of things, I honestly think we're safe because one, nobody fucking listens to us, so it's not
it doesn't
likely
matter.
to produce such action.
Yeah, that
You
doesn't
never
matter
know.
though.
It only takes one.
Right. This is the way I felt about it.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
It's open to interpretation.
if
Right.
we inspire you to violent or imminent lawless action,
First, you're welcome.
well, yeah,
First,
one,
you're
you're welcome.
welcome.
And two, why did it take us?
Yeah, how did we get
Okay.
you to that point?
All right.
And
Let's,
lastly, try to let us know in advance so we know when they're coming.
Yeah, so that we know we're
Right.
all gonna get black.
All right, Handsome Jack. Any last words before we get kicked off of Spotify?
Hey, laugh often, die happy, man. That's it.
Absolutely. All right, we'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.
See ya.
Please.